We will stand behind each story. We will always provide evidence to the court, and that is why we think of our stories that they are bulletproof, and they should always be. The majority of cases were actually like defamation SLAPPS, or like lawsuits in which officials and business persons were claiming that we have damaged their honor and reputation. I believe that in Serbia, when politicians, officials sue you, they do it just because they can then tell, I sued Crick, or I sued this journalist or this media outlet. They do it just because they can. They have enough money, they have enough time, they have lawyers, to serve them. And when you publicly say, I sued that media for writing that article about me, you kind of immediately are saying to the less educated audience, like, oh, there must be something wrong with that article because, he has sued them. So the first lawsuit that was the first very important lawsuit that was filed against Greek was filed by a minister of innovation, Nenad Popovic, and he's a Serbian minister who sued us 4 times for the same information, which we discovered in the famous international project Paradise Papers. So what happened there, he was actually suing us for a leaked information, which was, publicly available at the time, or actually that information was leaked to journalists, and it was discovering the amount of wealth that minister had offshore and onshore. But the process itself was strange because minister was not actually showing at any of the hearing. The most frequently used excuse was that he is on a business trip to Russia, and he's a minister of innovation. Actually, those 4 cases were ongoing for more than a year. And then one of the judges was actually, she actually decided to dismiss the case because she said, okay, he is not showing apparently on purpose because he knows the dates of the hearing in advance. And I think that if he feels that his honor has been damaged, he should come to court and explain it. The latest case against Greek is actually a lawsuit filed by a director of the Serbian Secret Service. His name is Bratislav Gašić, and he has sued Crick, our editor and one of our journalists, only because we published a news article about him. And this is what happened. Actually, our reporter went to court to report about one organized crime case. And while she was in the court, the evidence were displayed. One of the evidence were actually secretly recorded conversations between 2 gang members. And those gang members have mentioned that Bratislav Gašić is actually being paid by one of the gang members. He doesn't have a case. We ask him for comment. We called him after the article was published. We gave him like several chances to respond on what was said about him in court, and he never wanted to answer. He was just like, I don't want to talk to you, and hang up. It's a situation in which a powerful official is actually using and misusing court just to pressure the journalists. And we're also going to fight this publicly and report about each hearing, because this is something that, should not go, we will not go silent about this. the intention was to actually exhaust us financially and in any other way. We were actually being dragged from our working space to the courtroom. So we were spending hours in the courtroom and hours preparing the evidence, translating the documents for the court to accept them. And that was a huge waste of time. That time could be spent and it was intended to be spent on investigating politicians, officials, businessmen, criminals. That was the time we wanted. So that's the worst impact you can make towards a journalistic team when you're suing them. You're actually stealing their time and their focus from investigation to defending themselves.